To be here. I love the feast, and I've been on the faculty for a number of years, and I always love coming back. I think it's such a great practice. So, hi everyone. Thanks for coming. Um, the way I run my classes is we'll start with a mindful moment, then I'll share some teaching with you. Today, we're going to do a self-inquiry practice. It's one of my favorite practices to do. And I'll talk a little bit about what that is and how it works and how to do it. And then I will guide you through the practice. And there will be silence as I guide. So just notice that for you. That's okay to just kind of sit and be still and see what shows up as we do this practice. And then I will close with a reading and we'll have time for some Q&A after that. So I'm going to invite you now to close your eyes if that feels good. And if not, you can just gaze gently downward at your hands in your lap and begin to take a few long, slow, deep breaths in and out of the nose. Really begin to feel the breath move in the body. And begin to tune in to the support that is behind you, beneath you. Maybe your feet are on the floor, and you can begin to feel that energetic connection between the bottoms of your feet. Maybe it's the backs of your legs, the base of your spine. Noticing that reciprocity energetically between the body and the earth and the floor and the seat as it rises to support you and hold you in your practice. And maybe noticing that we're actually always held and supported by this great gift of the universe, this gift of gravity, without ever even asking, as if the universe has your back, even though some days it might not feel like it. So just kind of noticing that, maybe cultivating a sense of gratitude for this beautiful gift of gravity. Next, noticing the temperature on your skin, the warmth or coolness of the air. Maybe noticing the places where the clothing touches the body, where the body is free to feel that temperature fully. Next, noticing the sounds. There may be some subtle sounds in the body that you can become aware of. Some sounds in the room, maybe sounds in the house or the building that you're in. Finally, you may notice some sounds outside. And then becoming aware that you can actually discern between which of the sounds are closer, which are distant. The deeper part of who you are, that deeper presence, that eternal nature, is the part that discerns, the part that is always present. Becoming aware of the space that you're in, even with the eyes closed, you can sense the environment. You may become aware of the awareness that is you. Sometimes that awareness can feel quite vast, even beyond the boundaries of the body. You might notice that, you might not, that's okay too. Then drawing that awareness, that attention inward, coming to find the breath, noticing what happens as the body breathes. You may first notice the movement, the rise and fall of the chest or the belly as you breathe in and out, slow, mindful, conscious breaths right now. You may notice a subtle sensation of fullness on the inhale, emptiness on the exhale. And noticing too how just by paying attention to the body breathing, to the sensory experience, the body begins to settle down. The mind, not so much. So if you can imagine parking what's most pressing just outside the space you're in, maybe it will be there when we're finished. Maybe not. Maybe it will come around again. That's what the mind does. But for now, bringing your attention to our time together, setting your intention to be as present as you can be, knowing you're giving yourself this great gift of self-care, and really arriving here in this space, arriving here in this seat, arriving here in this body, here in this moment. We've never been in this moment before. Taking one more deep breath in and out of the nose, really enjoying the ease of the exhale. And if you like, you can leave your eyes closed or open them as I share some thoughts about our practice today, whatever works for you. So I came to meditation really to um, squelch my anxiety, which was running rampant. And that worked. It worked really well. And then once that happened, this beautiful gift of the practice continued to unfold. And one of the really, I think, beautiful byproducts of committing to a practice is getting to know that deeper part of who you are. And once you get to know that part of you, I really believe that's what connects us to each other and then to something greater. And self inquiry is a wonderful practice to invite that kind of exploration into who is that part of me? Who am I? Right? I often give this example when I'm teaching that you get an invitation to a party and you open it up and you're like, oh, I don't want to go there. What do you mean you don't want to go? Of course you have to go. Everybody else expects you to be there. What are you going to do if you don't show up? Right? So we listen to that mind chatter and we go. When we get there, we're like, oh, why didn't I listen to myself? Who's myself? You listened to something because you went. But intuitively, it's not yourself, self with a big S, soul, essence, highest self, deepest self, authentic self. We have lots of ways to name this, but it's kind of amorphous. We don't really know who that is or what that is. And the more we meditate, the more we get in touch with that deeper part of who we are. I believe it's our soul essence, right? So over time, that part of you becomes stronger. You start to identify with it. You start to check in with it. You start to ask yourself those questions. What's really right for me? What will align me with my highest good and the highest good of all, right? What will move me in the direction of more life affirming activities rather than move me away from that? And so getting to know who that is, that deeper part of you, I think is a really essential part of this practice over time. And one of the ways to do that is to invite this self-inquiry practice. So we're going to close our eyes, settle into the practice, and then drop into the space of your heart, right? If you ask your heart a question, you'll usually get an answer. And it might not happen the first few times you do this because it's new, but the more you do it, the more you can be in touch with that inner knowing. And the famous question to ask yourself in self-inquiry is, who am I? Right? Ramana Maharshi spent his life asking that question. But you can also ask your heart, dear heart, what do I need to know today? Or what is an intention for myself today? Or dear heart, what are my deepest desires? And the question is really the most important part, not the answer. The answer may come while we sit today in meditation. The answer may come tomorrow while you're in the shower. The answer may show up. You might hear the answer. It might be quiet and a whisper, might be loud. It might show up in synchronicities over the next few days. It might show up in signs in all different ways. But the important part is not to strive for the answer, but to just ask the question. The question is like dropping a pebble into a lake and having the ripples. And over time, the more you engage in a practice of asking your heart, what is my deepest desire or who am I? You will start to have a knowingness of that. And you can ask your heart anything, right? That's the connection to that deepest part, I believe, of who you are. So we're going to try this practice now. Um, Yeah, I think that's what I want to say about it. Okay. So closing your eyes and settling in if they're not closed already. And begin to take some long, slow, deep breaths in and out of the nose. Really feeling the breath move in the body. In this practice, we want to welcome whatever arises internally, externally, resisting nothing, holding everything in an attitude of kind attention, letting the breath now just be easy. You may notice that your breath speeds up or slows down, but your breath knows just how to take care of you, so no need to control it. Inviting some relaxation to the body, head to toe, softening the scalp, unfurrowing the brow, letting the face be soft, easy, no expression needed. Checking in with the jaw, see if you might need to unclench just a little. Inviting the tongue to rest comfortably in the mouth. Maybe rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, away from the ears, letting them just settle down the back. Noticing your posture, upright and relaxed, sitting with a sense of dignity, softening the front body from the top of the chest on down through the diaphragm, and letting the belly be soft and easy, like a great big Buddha belly. Softening the right arm from the shoulder on down through the elbow, all the way to the fingertips. And the left arm softening, letting go of any tension you might be holding there, shoulder to fingertips. And now shifting the attention to the pelvis, maybe noticing it sinking a little bit deeper into the seat beneath you. Feeling the earth, the floor, the seat rising to support you. Noticing the whole body sitting here, the whole body. Noticing the places where the body connects to support, beneath you, behind you. Feeling the weight of the body grounding you here and now to this space, to this moment in time. Softening the right leg from the hip on down through the knee, all the way to the toes. And the left leg softening, letting go of any tension, hip to toes. Now scanning the body, making sure you're comfortable. If there's any place that's calling for some ease or comfort, just by bringing the attention there, you can soften. It's okay to shift or move if you need to, and sitting still as you can. And now turning the attention inward, coming to notice any tingling or pulsing Any sensations in the body? Might notice that most in your fingertips or your toes. Might not notice anything at all, that's okay too. But that subtle movement of energy is your aliveness. We're alive in our bodies, we rarely notice. There is a deeper presence, an eternal nature, the soul of you, who calls this body home. With that internal gaze, becoming aware of the awareness, aware of the one who hears my voice. Maybe noticing the one who thinks the thoughts. Noticing too whatever is arising in this internal realm. You may notice thoughts, emotions, sensations, just allowing all of that to be there as it is. Maybe letting it fade toward the background as you bring your attention to the breath in the foreground. And today, imagining that you could drop your breath into the space of your heart, as if you could breathe in and out of the center of your chest. As you put your attention there, just notice how it feels. That loving energy as the heart expands. If it's helpful, you can imagine a beautiful light as you breathe in, surrounding your heart with light, and then breathing out light into the world. And notice how this just enlivens the area of your heart. What does it feel like to place your attention here? Allowing yourself to feel love, with the love you have for yourself or for someone you know, for nature. Whatever comes to heart and mind, just allow your heart to open and feel your love. See if you can sense the energy in this area of your chest expand and become more alive, more tangible. And first, we'll ask the eternal question: who am I? Who am I? Just silently asking your heart, repeating the question a few times: who am I? When you ask this question with your whole heart and you don't find an answer, that's okay. Just stay there, not knowing. There may be nothing but the space. Stay present to that space, that sense of spaciousness. What's there is your beingness. That nothingness, that beingness is very spacious. Just notice what arises. We'll sit silent for a few minutes. I'll mind the time. Now letting the question go, sitting in the spaciousness, in the no thingness, in the beingness that is you. Notice what arises. And now we'll invite our next question for inquiry, listening to what your heart has to say to you. You may hear words or feel feelings. You may have thoughts, inspirations, images, or you may just get a sense of awareness and knowing. And again, maybe nothing. As we sit and ask, dear heart, what is my deepest desire? Or maybe for you, dear heart, is there something you would like to share with me? Dear heart, what would most serve me in my life at this time? Find the question that resonates, asking your heart a number of times and then letting the question go. Just sitting in the stillness, in the spaciousness, notice what arises. I'll mind the time. Letting all the questions go, just sitting and noticing what comes. And now taking one last heart breath here, breathing in light, surrounding your heart with light, thanking your heart for always being your guide, knowing you can come back here over and over again, anytime, letting any images fade as you breathe out light into the world, letting your breath now return to its natural depth and rhythm. And we'll sit for just a few more minutes. You'll hear my voice, and I'll let you know your next steps. And slowly we will begin to move toward wakefulness. So important to take this time to do it slowly, not rushing. You can begin to deepen the breath, really taking those long, slow, deep breaths in and out of the nose. When you feel ready, start to move your fingers and your toes, maybe stretching any way that feels good for you, trying to maintain some of that present moment awareness as you slowly move toward wakefulness. And lastly, if you like, you can leave your eyes closed as I share my closing reading, or slowly gazing at the floor, letting in just a little bit of light before coming back fully to this space. And today, my closing reading comes from Mark Nepo, one of our great spiritual teachers, contemporary teachers. And I love this reading. It really speaks to communing with your heart, and the idea of this is a practice. We need to do this over and over again until we really can make some progress. So he says this: every single being has an amazing, unfathomable gift that only meeting life head on and heart on will reveal. And we can't fully know our gift alone. We need each other to discover the gift, to believe in the gift, and then to learn how to use it. The challenge for each of us is not to discount our gift because of the indifference of others, and not to abdicate our gift because of the various weights we are forced to carry. My hope is that we will better know our own true nature and the depth of our own resources by being in conversation with the inner terrain, I would say with the heart space, as it opens, including how to restore our trust in life when suffering makes us lose our way, how to begin the work of saying yes to life so it can enliven us, and how to make our inwardness a resource and not a refuge. There is always a practice before the practice, a sitting before the incomprehensible long enough to feel and sometimes understand the mystery of each instrument and craft that is designed to invoke. In Japan, before an apprentice can clay up his hands and work the wheel, he must watch the master potter for years. In Hawaii, before a young man can ever touch a boat, he must sit on the cliff of his ancestors and simply watch the sea. In Africa, before the children are allowed to drum, they must rub the length of skin stretched over wood and dream of the animal whose heart will guide their hands. In Vienna, the prodigy must visit the piano maker before ever fingering a scale, to see how the keys are carved and put into place. And in Switzerland, legend has it that before the master watchmaker can couple his tiny gears, he must sit long enough to feel the passage of time. Starting this way enables a love of the process that is life-giving. The legendary cellist Pablo Casals was asked at 92 why he still practiced for 4 hours a day. He smiled and replied, "Because I believe I am making progress." It is this sort of deep progress that saves us. Thank you so much for sharing this self-inquiry practice with me.